This is the plaintiff, Pamela Pace. She says her neighbor's wild, unruly vegetation hangs down onto her property, and half her patio is now unusable. She's contacted the defendant numerous times about the encroachment. He doesn't take pride in his property, and she's suing the guy for the $450 she had to pay a landscaper to rectify the problem. This is the defendant, Richard Campbell. He says this woman never contacted him about any kind of vegetation problem on his property. And if she had the common decency to do so, they wouldn't be here today. This woman just filed a lawsuit against him. He's pretty sure he's within his rights and isn't giving this rude woman a penny. He's accused of allowing an overgrowth.
All parties, please raise your right hand. The People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Milliams presiding. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
All right, Ms. Pace, you're suing. You don't actually live there, right? You own the property?
That's right.
You're suing the neighboring property owner, Mr. Campbell. Do you actually live there, Mr. Campbell?
No, I don't.
Okay, you're both landlords. All right. You're suing the neighboring property owner, Mr. Campbell, for $450 to trim trees that have overgrown into your property. Talk to me and tell me what happened.
For years, the bushes on the defendant's property has grown up through the fence. I have a wood fence on my side of the property that has been there since I've owned the property. And these bushes just come right up through the boards and have damaged the fence. I've had to install 4x4s and posts in the ground to keep my fence up. Because the vegetation pushes it over. And this time, the rain caused a lot of growth over a short period of time. And my tenants complained that it was growing, taking up room in their patio, overgrowing their furniture, and they wanted it removed. So I had to pay the gardener, who comes once a week, extra to do this extra work.
But why was it so much, $450? I mean, I presume the gardener has one of those electric,
Yeah, you should. Well, I have
gas-powered
I
things.
have photos, and I think you'll understand when you see this.
So let's take a look at the photos. Okay, take a look at the photos that I have up there now.
Yes.
Is that photo taken by somebody standing on your property?
Yes.
Okay, so that's the fence we're talking about, right?
That is the fence.
Okay.
That is my fence that separates the back of my lot from the side of his
What
lot.
kind of bushes are these?
I'm not sure. They kind of remind me of bougainvillea
Me too.
without the flowers.
Yeah, me too, because of the
These
root growth.
photographs were taken in 2018
Yeah.
and were sent along with the first letter that I wrote
to him,
Mr. Campbell.
And did you ever get a response from him?
Nothing.
Did you not receive her letter?
I do remember it. I don't have it. I went looking for it, and I don't have it.
Okay, but the interesting thing is that in your answer to the complaint, you said, why did she sue me? Why didn't she just talk to me? She did try to talk to you. So did you ever talk to her about it when she sent you? You remember getting the letter. So did you ever talk to her after you got the letter?
Well, that letter was sent back in 2019, and when I found out about the case, then, I had to go back and look at my documents.
No, I'm asking what you did when you got the letter from your neighboring property owner.
Well,
Did you ignore her?
I ignored her.
Right, that's why you're being sued. So what's the big mystery? Okay, so let's see. Here's the thing. It takes a while to get these kind of root systems coming this way, and it's invariably it's going to be a problem if they're not cut down. But you sent the second letter?
Yes, and that was after the big explosion of growth. I have 11
Is this after?
photos.
Is this after the trees were cut? The bushes were cut?
This was before. This
Before,
was
okay.
the first with the first letter. That's what it was like.
What is this right here that I'm looking at?
That's the one that I took this year, after the big explosion of growth.
Okay, wait, because I need to try to understand. So the furniture I'm looking at is on your property.
Yes, it's the.
I can no longer see the
tenants.
wooden fence.
Right.
And The vegetation has now, I don't blame your tenants for complaining. The vegetation has
that's a
now
lot
grown
of stuff to-
halfway into the yard.
Yes.
Right. Do you pay landscapers to landscape?
Yes,
Why,
but the
why don't they just keep cutting it as part of their job every time they come?
They did that, and then what
They
happened?
didn't do that for a very long time.
Well, what happened was, as you can see from the previous pictures, it used to kind of stand up straight. And then when it started getting overgrown, it
Okay, but that doesn't happen in a
collapsed.
day. And that doesn't happen in a
Right.
week, and that doesn't happen in a month.
True.
Even with a lot of rain, it happened at best, at the shortest time possible in a year. So your guys are coming how often?
They come every week, but they
If they
just do
come
the
every week,
lawn.
why aren't they keeping it trimmed? Like it's as part of what you already pay. Because it becomes this kind of problem, then they're charging you another $450.
Right.
So question to you, Mr. Campbell. She spent $450 to take care of it, and you don't feel it's your responsibility. Why?
I have diagrams, Your Honor. There are two fences, her fence and my fence. That growth is coming from between our two fences.
Really?
And I have diagrams and pictures.
Let me see that. Is that accurate, that these trees were planted in between the two fences?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what happens on his side of the fence.
No, that's not my question. You know, because this is a problem, so
Yes.
did you see that it's fence, tree, fence?
I see that there was something planted on the other side of my fence, and then another fence was put up over it.
Right, so these things that are growing are in between the two fences, yes or no?
Yes.
So do you have a survey to show me whose property line it's on?
No, Your Honor, but...
Do you?
No.
Okay. I'm going to tell you the law anyway because it doesn't really matter. But I am curious, because I'm always curious for the anatomy of a lawsuit. Why would you ignore the letter as opposed to trying to find some solution and
These
figure out?
plants are growing, Your Honor, this is a document that I got off the internet about California law.
I know the law, but
Okay.
what I really want to know,
But-
so is it because you feel that California law says it's not your responsibility? Is that what you're telling me?
That's correct.
But still, why ignore her? It's a different question that I'm asking. I'm not saying why not pay for it. I'm asking, that's the answer to why not pay for it. I'm asking you why ignore your neighbor.
In 2019, I think it was, she demanded that I replace her fence. It was all my responsibility.
Oh, okay.
And then I got the second letter.
Do you have the letter from 2019?
Yes.
I thought it was really polite what I saw. Can I see it? So you got the second letter too?
Yes.
Okay.
That one I have a copy of here.
Here's the first letter in 2019. I have it up on the screen. There are two fences between the property owned by you and owned by me. I'm enclosing photographs of the fence taken from the backyard, I guess, at my property. As you can see, the bushes planted on your side of the fence, why his side, have grown through my fence. I need to replace this fence, but it will require that the bushes be taken out. Would you be willing to talk informally about this, perhaps through email? That's super polite. Why would you ignore that? I mean, she's not demanding, you know, she's saying, would you be willing to talk informally about this, perhaps through email, so there's no confusion about who's saying what? Why wouldn't you answer that?
I don't have an answer for that.
Yeah,
Your
there's
Honor.
no good answer because it's
No.
kind of unneighborly. But anyway, then the next letter you do have, and actually I have it too. Here it is. In July of 2022, she says, in February I informed you about the bushes on property owned by you. Now his position is they're not even owned by me because they're in the middle. How do you know they're owned by me? And if you don't have a survey, how do you know whose property they're on?
Because my, up to my
Yeah, his
fence-
answer's the same thing. Yeah, up to my fence, they're not there. He gets the same answer you have. So now we know they're in between
But
the two.
my fence was there first.
Oh, come on. How do you know where your fence was placed?
Well,
The only way you'd know is with a survey. Let's look at what you write. With that letter, I enclosed several photographs. I've been paying $30 extra every month to have these bushes kept trimmed back off my fence. A week ago, I was contacted by my tenants. Listen, if you're paying them $30 extra a month, they're not doing the work if it grew like that, and you pay them every week to come.
well, I don't know until my tenants complain, so.
I know, but I can't believe you paid $450 to them.
Well, I had to get rid of the bushes.
No, I get it. Why aren't you mad at did you change landscapers?
No.
You should, because if you're paying them if it's true, which is it? Are you actually paying them $30 a month, or you just said that in the letter?
No, I did pay extra to
do that. And did they do their
bushes
job?
in the back because
Right.
they're
Did
not,
they do their job?
It looked to me every time I was there that they were doing
No,
their job.
not okay. Looking at the pictures you sent me, it's obvious that they weren't doing the extra work you're paying them $30 extra a month for, were they?
Maybe I can demonstrate.
Just answer my question.
What question? What's the question?
Okay, so listen to my question. Looking at the picture you sent me, it is obvious that if you're paying them $30 extra every month to have these bushes kept trimmed, that they didn't do that. They didn't earn those $30 because they let it grow for however long it took to grow to half of your backyard.
They told me that the bushes had been growing over on the defendant's property.
That's exactly what you're paying them $30 extra a month for, to go like this with them. You know how long that takes?
All right.
No, seriously, how long does it take? With the gas-powered thing that they have.
I have
How long
not
does
been
that take?
able to finish this sentence.
It shouldn't even be $30 a month. But if you truly are paying them an extra $30, why aren't you mad at them for not doing it?
Welcome back to the People's Court. I'm Harvey Levin. So the question, who's responsible for trimming them bushes? Let's go back into the courtroom and find out.
You have the right to cut off anything that is growing into your property, even if it makes this tree look stupid. When it's bushes, it doesn't really make the bushes look stupid. But imagine when it's a tree and there's a beautiful canopy, but if it's shading you and you don't want that shade, you have the right to cut from the hell to the heavens on your property. He can't overgrow it, but you have to pay for it. So you have the right, but also the financial responsibility, if it's something you want to do, to cut it back. He doesn't have the financial responsibility. That's not only California law, that's pretty much everywhere in the union. So where did you get the idea that, first of all, that they're his plants when they're in between both of your fences? Well, it's beyond my fence, it's beyond his fence.
I have a picture of his fence, which is just falling apart.
What does that have to do with my question? How does that tell me whose property the trees are on?
Well, I'm not offering it as proof of whose side the trees are on. What I'm saying is that
if they're on your property, you can just eliminate them. So you kind of want to do the survey. Now that's going to cost you a couple $100, but you need to do a survey of your land to figure out if you can just remove them without permission by him. You can certainly trim them without his permission. That's the law. Okay? But you cannot sue him to trim the ones that are on your side. And it makes sense when you think about it because, you know, things grow. They grow. And what's he going to do? So he can't pay his gardeners to trespass on your land to cut them. So that's why the law usually is exactly what California law is, which is you on your side can cut it from down to up, whatever's bothering you, but you have to pay the bill. He does not have to pay the bill.
Okay. Would you look at the photos of what it looks like this week?
I'm sure it's awful. In other words, I agree with you. The picture you did show me is awful. The question is, whose responsibility is it?
Okay.
And it's
you're
yours.
saying the only way we can find out is do a survey.
Well, no. I'm saying that any neighbor's trees that are growing into your property, you can cut right now. It's just on you to pay the bill for that. You can cut it right now without anybody's permission. That's one. Then the second thing I'm saying is that if you get a survey and you find out that his property line ends where his fence is, remove the trees and you never have the problem again. I realize that you feel like this is a joint problem, but it either is or it isn't, depending on whose land they're on. It could be an entirely you problem.
Well, what about how they grow up through my fence? You can see they're not started on my side of the fence.
Why do you suppose all those roots grow on your side of the fence? Because nobody was cutting them back on your side. That's how all those roots grow. Because if you cut them, the roots don't have time to grow.
Are you talking about the ones that are coming up through the boards in the fence?
I'm talking about this. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about.
You see, they come from the other side of the fence and they're growing up through the boards in the fence.
Right, but that doesn't happen. You understand that you don't have a 2-inch diameter bark until the thing has been growing for a while. And all you have to do is trim on your side so that it doesn't.
And then that's what I've been doing.
No, that's not what you've been doing. Okay, we're done debating this. It is your responsibility to take care of whatever's happening on your property. And that includes, before roots get this big, cutting them. You claim in your letter that you're paying $30 extra a month. I don't believe it. Because if you were, you'd be really angry that these people weren't doing anything. Because they weren't doing anything. Because you can't grow that even when there's a lot of rain. You don't wake up the next morning and see it that way. Yes, it grows quickly. It's a quickly growing plant. But there's still, especially if you're paying somebody to come every week, they should be trimming that back. No matter what, they should be trimming that back. Now, bonus for you. I'm giving you some free legal advice. If it turns out the whole thing is on your land, cut it all out, rip it all out, and he doesn't get a say in it. Even if it means that all of a sudden his side looks very unlush, tough for him, okay? That's my verdict, ruling for the defendant.
So the plaintiff learns a lesson about the laws determining shrubbery in California. And she learns the hard way here in court. Let's see her reaction. She has lost the case. Ms. Pace, what are you thinking right now?
Well, if the law says I have to trim it and pay for it, then I will have to trim it and pay for it.
Yeah, but you're paying gardeners right now to come into your property. Go ahead, they can cut it. Tell them to cut it.
Well, they did. They charged me extra because they are there to mainly mow and edge and do the flower beds. So this is an extra thing that wasn't part of our original deal. So I did pay the extra. I think, it's easy to assume things when you haven't seen it all along throughout the years, but I had originally tried to negotiate building a new fence, but maybe that's not going to work out now.
Well, you've learned a little lesson about the law. What's interesting is you could have known this by doing a little research in California even before filing the lawsuit, and you wouldn't have come to court. You know that?
Yes.
I'm sorry, but you've lost the case. But are you going to now tell your guys to cut it and make yourself happy?
Well,
How about that?
they already did. I might have to do a survey to find out where I should put my block wall.
Okay. All right, good luck to you. All right, thank you. Sorry you lost.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Campbell, the defendant's on his way out of the courtroom. He didn't look too happy walking in here earlier today. You look better now. How do you feel?
I feel so much better. Yeah, it's very difficult to try and, deal with problems, neighbors, and who owns what, I trimmed that vegetation that comes over on my side of my fence several times, and I didn't present a bill to her, so.
All righty. Well, listen, congratulations. You're in the right here, and I know you feel much better.
I do.
That's good for you. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. Harvey, what are your thoughts?
Okay, Doug, we have talked about this for many, many years in the People's Court, that in most states, almost every state, if there is a bush, a shrub, a tree, where branches overhang onto your property, you can cut right to the property line. You cannot go further and cut onto the other person's property. And you can't walk onto that person's property either. That's a trespass without permission.
I ordered an item for my kitchen online at an all-sales final sale. But when I received it and opened it, I found a different item and a note saying they ran out of that item that I ordered and they substituted something else. I don't want that something else. I called customer service and they said I'm out of luck because it was a final sale. What do you say, Judge Milian?
Of course not. I love when litigants will say to me, well, but I don't give refunds. Well, yeah, you don't give refunds so long as you don't breach.
Right.
And it sounds like this online company sent her something, if that's true, that she didn't order, in which case they're the ones who breached.
Oh, you're going to love this thing. We're going to give you something else.
You'll love it. It's good enough for you.
But if you don't love it, all sales are final.
All sales are final. It says it right there. No, that's not how life works. You can't be the person breaching and then availing yourself of all sales final or no refunds.
Right. When I was a kid, I used to order stuff from those little ads in the back of comic books and stuff, like novelties. Like I had to have the sea monkeys, X-ray specs, so I could see through walls, see through other stuff, and all that stuff. I had to have it, right? And I just remember sending away for it. And a couple of times they'd substitute other stuff and be like, "What? That's not what I ordered." I didn't have the savvy or the wherewithal when I was 12 years old to sort that out.
I'm surprised you had the money to even order that.
I barely did.
But that's, I think that some unscrupulous companies bank on the volume of people who will just not pursue it.
Right, exactly. And I find, I guess, that it's cost effective for them.
It's cost effective to just,
Right?
Yeah.